Pam Grier, known as the Queen of Black exploitation films, made a huge impact in the film industry by starring in more than a dozen movies from 1971 to 1975. She performed all her own stunts and handled weapons, cars, and planes with ease. However, her story goes beyond just her on-screen toughness. From a surprising cameo on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air that stirred up controversy to her personal and professional challenges, Pam's life is a fascinating journey. Pam Grier is a key figure when discussing it girls who transformed cinema, fashion, and culture. Her influence on the film industry is clear, but her life has had its share of drama. For instance, in her guest role on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, she appeared in the 4th season, episode 22, titled "M is for the Many Things She Gave Me." In this episode, Pam played Janice Robertson, an old college girlfriend of Philip, who visits the Banks family and tries to persuade Will to get involved with her daughter Wendy. Also, Vivian was clearly jealous of Janice, especially after overhearing Phil say he only settled for Vivian because Janice wasn't interested. Philip said, "Janice wasn't going to have me, so I settled for Vivian." When Philip learns that Will slept with Janice, he apologizes to Vivian and reassures her that he values his marriage most. Janice taunts Philip with, "You slept with Janice." Some viewers were intrigued by this episode, but not everyone liked it. Critics were concerned about the storyline, especially because Pam's character, a grown woman, was involved with a teenage boy. There were also rumors that Pam was playing up her sex symbol image too much, which might explain why she didn't return for more appearances on the show. However, nothing was ever confirmed. Pam's life was far from easy, despite her fame and beauty. She was admired by actors, comedians, and athletes alike, but her personal life was troubled. Her early years were especially hard. At just 6 years old, Pam faced a traumatic event involving her cousin and his friends. According to the New York Post, this experience made her very introverted. She developed a stutter and became scared of being around others. She kept this trauma hidden, worried that revealing it might hurt her family. Pam chose to stay silent and tried to be strong despite the pain she carried. Her grandparents' farm in Wyoming became a refuge for her. It was there that she learned to ride horses, a skill that would later prove useful. Gradually, her stutter began to fade. Pam started at Denver's Metropolitan State College with hopes of becoming a doctor. However, at 18, her life took a dark turn when she was brutally assaulted on a date. This incident caused her to withdraw even more. In her memoir, she described surviving 4 assaults, 2 as a child, 1 as a teenager, and 1 as a young adult. The attacks from her childhood led Pam to dress more modestly, hoping to avoid drawing attention. She kept these painful memories to herself for a long time, trying to deal with them alone. When she eventually shared her experiences with her boyfriend at the time, he responded harshly, saying, "Wow, you're tainted." That relationship ended quickly. Pam's romantic life remained tumultuous. She crossed paths with Wilt Chamberlain, the famous basketball player known for claiming he had slept with over 20,000 women. In an interview with The Undefeated, Pam revealed that her relationship with Wilt didn't develop further because he was more interested in sophisticated, educated women, while she felt too down-to-earth for his taste. Pam Grier's life took an unexpected turn when she mentioned to the Washington Post that she entered a beauty pageant to make money for medical school. During the pageant, a casting agent saw her and suggested she try acting. Although Pam initially laughed off the idea, she later learned that opportunities for black actresses were growing. This encouraged her to move to Los Angeles to pursue acting. Once in Los Angeles, Pam soon met Ferdinand Lewis Alcindor Jr., a 7'2" UCLA graduate and NBA star, who would later become known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They connected over their shared interest in martial arts and developed a romantic relationship. Pam believed she had found someone who truly understood and respected her. When Pam transferred from Colorado to UCLA to enroll in film school, Kareem was her first boyfriend. He converted to Islam and changed his name to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. He expressed a desire to marry Pam and assured her she wouldn't need to convert to his faith. However, over time, things began to shift. Kareem told her, I can only marry a woman of the same religion. Pam, uncomfortable with some of the Islamic views on women, questioned why women had to follow men. Kareem responded, "Because that's what Allah wants." On her birthday, Kareem gave Pam an ultimatum. "If you don't commit to me today, I'm getting married this afternoon." Pam felt pressured and realized that she wasn't ready for such a commitment. Pam made her choice without hesitation. She declined Kareem's proposal and wished him the best. Kareem then married Janice Brown, who later took the name Khadija Abdul-Jabbar. They had 3 children together but divorced after 7 years. Pam threw herself into her acting career, despite facing challenges in Hollywood. She told the New York Times about her imperfections, including chipped teeth and a scar from a bullet wound she got at 17. At the start of her career, she was 5'8" inches and weighed 145 pounds, which the Washington Post described as chunky. Her height also made it difficult for her to get leading roles, as she was taller than many of the male actors. Nevertheless, Pam persisted and landed the lead role in the 1971 film The Big Dollhouse. Although the film was a success, her romantic life continued to be unstable, with short relationships with figures like Soul Train host Don Cornelius and Led Zeppelin's Robert Plant. In 1973, while promoting her film Coffee, Pam fell deeply in love with Freddie Prinze, a rising comedian. They connected immediately, and Pam even considered marrying him. However, Freddie's increasing drug use became a serious problem. Pam noted, "It was becoming a daily thing for Freddie and his friends, but I couldn't accept it. Freddie often showed up unannounced and eventually confessed, 'I'm trying to get you pregnant. I love you and I'm afraid you may not marry me.'" Despite his struggles, Freddie was very supportive of Pam. She told Madame Noir that Freddie encouraged her to pursue Broadway and was never intimidated by her success. Nonetheless, the difficulties with Freddie's addiction led Pam to end the relationship, though they remained friends. Freddie later moved on with Kathy Cochran, and they had a son, Freddie Prinze Jr. Freddie also introduced Pam to the famous comedian Richard Pryor. The 3 would hang out at Richard's home, but as the nights grew more chaotic with partying and drug use, Pam became uncomfortable. Sensing where things were heading, she asked Freddie to take her home. As Freddie's addiction worsened, Pam began to distance herself and focus more on her growing acting career. As Pam Grier's career progressed with roles in iconic films like Foxy Brown, she received a distressing call one night from Freddie, who was staying at a hotel. Freddie's voice was filled with despair as he told Pam that he had lost everything. His financial resources had been drained by his entourage, and he felt completely alone. All he had left was a weapon. Pam was understandably scared and hesitated to visit him, worried that he might harm both of them. She explained to Madame Noir, "I take care of my family. I'm paying a lot of mortgages, putting people through college. I've found a purpose, and I can't let him endanger my life." Just a few days later, on January 29, 1977, Pam learned that Freddie had taken his own life at the young age of 22. Pam later reconnected with Richard Pryor while working on Greased Lightning. Their friendship soon turned into a romantic relationship. Unfortunately, once again, Pam found herself with someone struggling with substance abuse. Despite the challenges, she tried to help Richard face his issues. She supported him in adopting a healthier lifestyle, taught him to read, and helped him stay clean for a period. However, after 6 months of sobriety, Richard relapsed. He had been using drugs since he was 13, so his body had been affected for nearly 40 years. During a routine doctor's visit, Pam received troubling news. Her doctor found dangerous residue in her body, a problem linked to the drug use prevalent in Hollywood at the time. It was believed that Richard had been using drugs to boost his sexual performance. Pam's health began to suffer, and she asked Richard to be mindful of it. This concern was a turning point in their relationship, leading to their breakup in 1977. In his memoir, Richard criticized Pam's attitude, saying, "In my head, there was only one numero uno, and it wasn't her." Shortly after their split, Richard married Deborah Maguire in a troubled ceremony. He later told Vanity Fair that he was drunk at the wedding, Deborah was an hour late, and she had to be revived after overdosing on Quaaludes. Pam, who was not invited, appeared at the chaotic event. As time went on, Pam took smaller roles in TV shows like Roots and The Love Boat. One day, she received a call from Sidney Poitier, who informed her that Richard was causing delays on the set of Stir Crazy due to being high. Poitier asked Pam to help talk Richard into getting back to work. When Pam visited him, she found him freebasing. She convinced him to return to the set, but soon after, Pam got another alarming call. Richard had poured 151 proof rum on himself and set himself on fire. He was rushed to the hospital with severe burns covering over 50% of his body. Pam reflected, "I saw Rich just a few hours before he burned up. He was completely out of his mind." Pam looked back on her past relationships and realized she needed to focus on herself. "I couldn't change Richard, Freddie, or Kareem. I understood that changing myself was the real issue," she told The Guardian. She adopted a healthier lifestyle, started running 6 miles a day, stopped eating meat, and avoided drugs. Pam's determination was tested in 1988, when a routine PAP smear revealed she had stage 4 cervical cancer and was given only 18 months to live. Her boyfriend at the time didn't attend her first or second chemotherapy sessions and eventually disappeared. Despite this, Pam overcame the odds and was declared cancer-free by 1990, as she shared with the New York Times. In the mid-90s, Pam moved to Denver to be closer to her family. She began dating Kevin Evans, an RCA Records executive, in 1996, but their relationship ended a few years later. Pam told the LA Times that she saw herself as a loner and valued her independence. Besides a reported 8-year relationship with marketing executive Peter Hempel, which ended in 2008, Pam has kept her personal life mostly private. On the positive side, Pam Grier has found significant success in her career. Born on May 26, 1949, in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Pam is the daughter of Gwendolyn Sylvia, née Samuels, a homemaker and nurse, and Clarence Ransom Grier, Jr., a mechanic and technical sergeant in the U.S. Air Force. She has one sister and one brother. Pam's background includes a mix of Black, Hispanic, Chinese, Italian, Filipino, and Cheyenne ancestry. Raised Catholic and later baptized as a Methodist, Pam's early years were shaped by frequent moves due to her father's military service. In 1956, the Grier family moved to Swindon in southwest England, where Pam's father worked at an Air Force base. Although they were one of the few black families in town, Pam noted that they did not face the same racism and segregation that was common in the United States. She explained that the locals in Swindon didn't have racial hatred, having been raised to resent Germans instead, which was very different from the racial issues they encountered in the U.S. Pam recounted how, in the South, buses would not stop for black people, certain restaurants were off-limits, and there were restricted bathrooms. As late as 1969, there were department stores where she and her father were not allowed to try on clothes. The family moved back to the United States in 1958, when her father was assigned to Travis Air Force Base in California. They eventually settled in Denver, Colorado, near Lowry Air Force Base. Pam also spent part of her childhood on her maternal grandparents' sugar beet farm in rural Wyoming. Her grandparents had homesteaded there after escaping slavery via the Underground Railroad. This connection to her family's past gave Pam a strong sense of resilience and determination. Pam attended East High School in Denver, where she was involved in stage productions and beauty contests. In 1967, she made a daring move to Los Angeles with big dreams. She started working at American International Pictures, AIP, handling the switchboard, which seemed like a small start. However, her big break came when director Jack Hill noticed her. This chance led Pam to star in Roger Corman's Women in Prison films, including The Big Dollhouse, 1971, Women in Cages, 1971, and The Big Bird Cage, 1972. These roles marked the beginning of her iconic career. While working at AIP, Pam became a key figure in the early 1970s black exploitation genre. She portrayed strong and assertive women, starting with her role in Hill's Coffee, 1973. In this film, Pam played a nurse seeking revenge on drug dealers. The trailer promoted her character as the baddest one-chick hit squad that ever hit town. The film was a hit at the box office, featuring the era's typical mix of sex and violence. Pam's role made her the first African-American woman to lead an action film, a major milestone since black exploitation films often focused on male leads. Critic Roger Ebert praised Coffee, highlighting Pam's convincing and powerful performance, her striking appearance, and the dynamic energy she brought to the role, which set her apart from many other actresses. Pam kept playing similar roles in AIP films such as Foxy Brown, 1974, Sheba Baby, 1975, and Friday Foster, 1975. As the popularity of black exploitation films faded later in the 1970s, she started taking on smaller parts. In the 1980s, Pam began landing more significant roles, including an addict in Fort Apache, The Bronx, 1981, and a witch in Something Wicked This Way Comes, 1983. In 1985, she made her stage debut in Sam Shepard's play Fool for Love at the Los Angeles Theater Center, showing her range as an actress. Pam made a strong return to film in 1988 as Steven Seagal's detective partner in Above the Law. She also had a recurring role on Miami Vice from 1985 to 1989 and appeared on popular TV shows like Martin, Night Court, and The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Additionally, she played a recurring role in the TV series Crime Story from 1986 to 1988. Although her part in Rocket Gibraltar, 1988, was cut due to concerns about interracial love scenes, Pam continued to make appearances on shows like Sinbad, The Preston Chronicles, The Cosby Show, The Wayans Brothers Show, and Mad TV. In 1994, she also appeared in Snoop Dogg's music video for Doggy Dog World. In the late 1990s, Pam was part of the Showtime series Lynx. She also appeared in John Carpenter's Escape from L.A., 1996, and starred in Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown, 1997, which paid tribute to her 1970s black exploitation films and brought her many award nominations. Pam then played Kit Porter on Showtime's The L Word, a role she held through the show's 6 successful seasons, which ended in March 2009. She continued to make guest appearances on TV, including a recurring role on Law & Order Special Victims Unit starting in 2010. Pam also took on a recurring role on the popular science fiction series Smallville, where she played Amanda Waller, the villain known as the White Queen and head of the covert operations agency Checkmate. The next year, she appeared in Larry Crown, 2011, as a friend and colleague of Julia Roberts' college professor. In 2010, Pam reflected on her life and career by co-writing her memoir, Foxy: My Life in 3 Acts with Andrea Kagan. Her story continued to inspire others, leading to her receiving an honorary doctorate of humane letters from the University of Maryland Eastern Shore and an honorary doctorate of science from Langston University in 2011. In 2012, Essence magazine praised Pam's characters for their groundbreaking impact, mentioning that audiences would cheer and stand on chairs during her films. Beyond her acting career, Pam made a difference by establishing the Pam Grier Community Garden and Education Center with the National Multicultural Western Heritage Museum. This center focuses on teaching organic gardening, health, and nutrition. In 2011, the museum honored her by naming its first garden after her. In January 2018, Pam revealed that a biopic based on her memoir, titled Pam, was in development. Her influence continues to shine, and in April 2022, Turner Classic Movies, TCM, announced that the 4th season of their podcast, The Plot Thickens, would highlight Pam's life and career. Pam Grier's impact on the entertainment world remains legendary, shaping and inspiring many aspects of the industry throughout her career. Pam Grier, a true icon of American cinema, was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award at the 2024 Toronto Black Film Festival. This award recognized her lasting impact and significant contributions to film. To celebrate her iconic role as Coffee from the 1973 film, Quentin Tarantino opened a coffee shop named after the character in Los Feliz on Valentine's Day, 2024. This tribute highlighted Pam's influence on American culture and the film industry. Pam Grier broke barriers and defied stereotypes, making a lasting mark in an industry that wasn't always welcoming to actors of color. Her talent, resilience, and pioneering spirit have established her as a symbol of strength and creativity in cinema. I hope you enjoyed watching. Please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks for watching.